On March 4th, I arrived alone at the Mexican border just outside a small town named Campo in Southern California. As a South Carolina native, my first steps in the desert felt really foreign, but it was exciting and energizing to think of all the miles I have ahead of me. The Pacific Crest Trail is a long-distance hiking path that runs the entire distance from Mexico to the Canadian border, spanning over 2,650 miles through California, Oregon, and Washington. Every year, hundreds of hikers from around the world attempt to walk the trail's entire length, and this year I'm hoping to be one of the ones who makes it all the way to Canada. My name's Preston, but I go by Panda on trail. I was given that name on the AT in 2017 when I thru hiked from Georgia to Maine. Since that hike, the PCT is really only my second long distance hike, and if it's anything like my first hike on the AT, then I'm really excited for what I have in store over the next few months. The PCT runs through some of the most notable areas on the West Coast, including the Sierra Nevada and Cascade mountain ranges. Even though I've got some really big mountains ahead of me, the first large section of the trail is a mix of high and low desert. I've been really pleased with just how many different types of trail that I've seen so far. Some has been rocky and sandy, while other miles have been pretty gentle and a lot of countryside walking through pastures and green valleys. I've actually even seen snow in some of the areas at higher elevations like Mount Laguna, which sits around 6,000 feet. I was pretty surprised when I woke up and found a couple inches of snow on the ground in my first week in the desert. Every part of the trail that I've seen so far has just been absolutely amazing. From the plants to the animals, to the terrain, everything's just different from the East Coast. I grew up hiking in the mountains of South Carolina and North Carolina mostly, and so to have big, wide open spaces where you can see mountains really far off in the distance is something that's really new for me. And while it's been a little bit different from my experience on the AT, it's definitely exceeded my expectations. One thing I love about long distance trails like this is that it brings people from all over the world who want to come see these mountains and hike through them. And so I've met people already from Europe, Mexico, all around the world, and it's been really sweet getting to talk to some of those people. One guy that I've really enjoyed getting to know is a guy named 5 Star, who is a triple crowner, meaning he's hiked the Appalachian Trail, Continental Divide Trail, and Pacific Crest Trail, and he's back out on the PCT to do some more miles.
I grew up in this area in Southern California, born and raised all my life, so a lot of these mountains kind of grew up hiking on, and it's kind of home to me. It's pretty cool to be able to link it all together on a through hike and walk the entire distance of a lot of these ranges. You know, the desert section really has a lot to offer because it's not just all like you said, sand and cactus, and it's a different kind of desert. It's not like what people think of as a desert, where you're just drenched in sun and super hot and sandy everywhere and no water. And particularly if you come out early in the season like now, you have all these little seasonal streams that are going, and water just hasn't been an issue at all. It's been amazing. In this southern section, I really like the transition between the desert and the mountains. The whole first 500 to 700 miles of the trail is kind of that way. You're going up into the mountains and then down into the desert, and up into the mountains and down into the desert. So it's really diverse in that sense, where you're kind of always getting, every week you're in a different environment. It's really crazy. The biodiversity, it's amazing.
I happened to start my hike in the desert right around a period referred to as the super bloom, which is an event where wildflower and cacti bloom in excess as a result of a particularly wet season. Since Southern California has had so much rain over the past few months, the desert has been popping with color. I've also loved seeing the huge movement of painted lady butterflies as they migrate up the coast. It's been pretty cool to see whole hillsides covered in these butterflies as they come up and over the ridge. Right now, I'm just outside of Idlewild, which is right around the 170-mile mark. So tomorrow morning, I'll be heading up into the San Jacinto Wilderness to continue my trek. The peak of San Jacinto is at 10,800 feet. So it's gonna be one of the bigger mountains I've been out on, and I'm really excited just to see how the next few miles go.